Hello everyone, how are you all? Today we are going to discuss the important topic of pre-2024 and that is Earth's interior. And mainly in Earth's interior we are going to discuss about the seismic waves and seismic activities. Now if we talk about Earth's interior, as we know, interior of the Earth. One of the most basic topics about in geomorphology and the most important thing that as we live on Earth and we know that our Earth is a terrestrial planet, means solid from inside. So the question comes in our mind, and not our mind, but it came in the scholar's mind, that if we are lying on Earth's surface, then what is lying inside the Earth, means in the interior part of the Earth. So prima facie, the sources by which we started gathering information, both the sources were divided into two parts, the direct sources and the indirect sources. The direct sources includes the surface rocks, then after the rocks obtained from mining, then after volcanism, and the fourth one, deep ocean drilling. Means the sources the sources which we can physically examine. But after studying these sources, what we found that even from the volcanic eruption also, the matter which we are getting is only 200-meter deep, and the interior of the Earth till the center is near about 6,000 kilometers. So the question remains the same, that what is lying below 200 or 400 kilometers. Then the scholars moved on to the indirect sources, which might be the possible, you can say, cause, or they can give us the information about the Earth's interior. Means we can't examine them physically, but rather we can study them. And those were meteors. Like as we know, during the formation of planets, the planetesimals which were present in our solar system, they combine together and form the planets. Means today they are present in the form of asteroids. So we thought that meteors might give us some information. Then after, the gravitational field or the gravitational anomaly, and what gravity says, that any object in universe, according to its size and mass, it has the same gravity, but on Earth the gravity is not same on everywhere. This means the matter inside the Earth is somewhere more dense, somewhere less dense. That's why the gravity anomaly is there. Then after, the electromagnetic field or the magnetism of Earth, and as Earth is not a bar magnet, but rather it behaves like a bar magnet, means something is churning inside the Earth's interior. And then after, finally the seismic activities, which finally gave us the confirmation that what is lying inside the Earth. So here we are going to study about the seismic activities. Now if we talk about the seismic activities, so the question comes that what is seismic activity? Simply, so in layman term we can say earthquake. And what is earthquake? Simply the vibration of Earth. But technically, the earthquake means sudden shaking or vibration of earth crust due to release of energy which is getting accumulated below the earth crust or inside the earth crust due to differential or uneven heating. Means below the surface of Earth, the matter is technically in different forms, and it has got temperature, because as we move down inside the Earth, on every 32 meter, near about 1 degree Celsius temperature increases. This means the radioactivity is going on, and that heat is generating the energy, and when that energy is not able to come out very easily, then what it used to do, it used to break the crust and just come out. So this energy and this shaking is considered as the earthquake, and the energy which is released is considered as seismic waves, and those seismic waves give us the information how the Earth's interior or in which state the Earth's interior is present. And before that, if we talk about the theory which explains the earthquake, is elastic rebounding. What is elastic rebounding? I am giving you the brief. According to elastic rebounding, it is considered as every object in this universe is made up of molecules, and every molecule has a perfect elasticity. When we will exert pressure over them, they will get stretched to some extent or they will bend, and when the elasticity of those molecules will end, they will suddenly break into two parts. Like this only, when the energy which is getting accumulated below the crust, it used to bend the crust in the form of folding, and as the crust is rigid, so after reaching to some extent or after getting folded, one time comes when the elasticity of the crustal molecules ends and finally the crust breaks, and this breaking, you can say, brings the shaking of the molecules, and that shaking of the molecules is considered as elastic rebounding, because when they will leave their original position, it's their tendency to reacquire the position. That's why after the first shaking of the crust, the aftershocks came, and the, you can say, geologists used to say that after feeling the first tremor of earthquake, never enter into the house till 10 minutes, because if the first shaking has took place, the aftershocks will come, because rebounding will obviously take place. So this is elastic rebounding. Now we are going to deal with the seismic waves, because they are only the, you can say, evidence, or they are only the medium which gives us the perfect knowledge about the Earth's interior. So if we talk about seismic waves, then the whole seismic waves are divided in two sections. One is body wave, and the second one is surface waves. Body waves means the waves which travel through the body of Earth, means in the interior of the Earth, are considered as body waves, and the waves which travel over the surface of Earth are considered as surface waves. Again, the body waves are divided in two parts: P waves, which are also known as primary waves, and S waves as secondary waves. Surface waves in two sections: love waves or L waves and relic waves or lamb waves. L waves are also known as love waves are also known as L waves. Now the question comes, what is their property? Because by the time you are not going to know their property, you will not answer the question, or you will not be able to answer the question in exam, or you can say pre, as because their property is the most important section. And last year also the properties and the vibration of molecules was asked from the seismic waves. So we are going to discuss them one by one. Like if we talk about the primary waves, the most important seismic wave, the first one, and the name of primary waves are also different. Like primary waves are also known as longitudinal waves. I will justify the name after telling them with the properties also. Longitudinal waves or push and pull wave, to and fro wave or body waves. Now the question comes, why they are known as longitudinal waves, push and pull waves, and they also travel like the sound waves. So as because the wavelength of primary waves are smallest of all these waves, and due to shortest wavelength, the speed of primary waves is fastest. Now, if we talk about their wavelength, the wavelength of primary waves are like this. Now, as you can see that due to shorter wavelength, they are resembling like longitudes. That's why they are considered as longitudinal waves. Then after, their way of propagation, they used to propagate like this, to and fro. That's why they are known as to and fro waves. Like this only, push and pull waves, and compressional waves also due to less wavelength. And as because they pass through the body of earth, they are considered as body waves. Now, as we talked about the wavelength of primary waves, so as they are moving longitudinally, so the molecules in primary waves will vibrate like this to and fro, because one time they will move front, then after they will come back. So the molecules in the objects, when the primary waves will pass, they will make them vibrate like to and fro horizontally. Secondly, they can pass through all the three mediums, solid, liquid or gas, because they are the fastest and the wavelength is smallest. Then after, if we talk about the secondary waves, secondary waves are also known as transverse waves, means one after the another, or water ripple waves, or we can say body waves or half body waves. Now the question comes, why half body wave? So in coming lectures we will see that, or you know already that when we see the shadow zone theory, what we find that the secondary waves only passes through the half body of the earth. That's why they are considered as half body waves also. And body wave as because they travel through the body of earth. And if we talk about the wavelength of secondary waves, their wavelength is more than primary waves. This means their speed will be less than primary, but the wavelength of secondary waves is smaller than surface waves. That's why their speed is more than surface waves. Now, if we talk about the transverse waves or water ripple waves, so if you have seen that after throwing a stone in pond, the ripples in the water which originates, they travel one after the another. Like this only, the crest and the two crests travel one after the another. That's why they are considered as water ripple waves, just like the ripples in the water. Second, one after the another, transverse waves. And due to this property only, the molecules of the object through which the secondary waves will pass, they will move up and down. Why up and down? As because if suppose this part is passing through the particle, so it will move it up. But when the crest will come, it will come down. Again from this point, the another crest is going to pass, so it will move up, and then after again next trough, so it will come down. That's why the particles move up and down, which was the another part of the question in which UPSC asked that the particles vibrate after passing of the body waves in primary to and fro and in secondary up and down. Then after, due to low speed, secondary waves can only pass through solid medium and disappear after entering into liquid. This means if they are disappearing in liquid, so they are also not able to travel in gaseous also. So only they will pass through solid. And the most important thing, the question comes, why they are disappearing in liquid? So we know in the state of matter, the intermolecular space. In solid, the intermolecular space is completely absent, means zero. So the energy required to pass from one particle to another is very less. So they can pass. But as the medium reaches to liquid or gas, the distance between the molecules increases. Now what happens that the distance between the molecules, the gap. So to fill the gap of liquid or solid, the gap between the wavelength or the crest get consumed, and that's why they are not able to travel through liquid. So they will not also able to travel through the gaseous medium. Now then, after moving on to the third, that is the surface wave. Surface waves are also known as love waves, and mind it, only primary and secondary are going to travel through the body of earth, and by the time the body waves, means primary and secondary, are not going to reach the earth's surface and they will not hit the surface rocks, by that time the surface waves will be not generated. Means technically we can say, when the body waves hit the surface rocks, then another set of waves are generated which are considered as surface waves, and they travel only over the surface of earth. Second thing, if we talk about the name, surface waves are also known as love waves or L waves. Now the question comes, why we are not saying them as S waves again? So as because we have given letter S already to secondary and it is more important than surface. That's why we given them the letter L, means the person who discovered them. So it is known as love waves, and the wavelength of surface waves is more than secondary waves. So the speed will be less than secondary wave. So we can say that among three, the primary, secondary and surface, the maximum wavelength is of surface waves. So the least speed will be of surface waves. So their wavelength is like this. Simply, due to more wavelength and less speed, the surface waves are not able to penetrate inside the Earth's interior, and after reaching to some depth, they disappear. Means they are only traveling over the surface. Second thing, the particles or the molecules in the objects through which the surface waves will pass, they will oscillate it. Means like this. And when they will oscillate, that's why the maximum destruction during earthquake is done by the surface waves only. Because as much time the particular wave is going to take to pass through one medium or one object, that much time it will get to vibrate the molecules. And when the molecules will be disturbed, they will be broken, or simply the destruction will take place. Then after, if we talk about the surface, then when surface waves become more, you can say less in speed, a new set of waves which are considered as relic waves or lamp waves. Technically they are a part of surface waves, and the relic waves used to generate the waves in the solid matter, then they are considered as relic waves, means the most destructive, most destructive than surface. But they are rare. Like suppose when we are waving a rope, the waves in the rope like this only, when the waves will be generated in the earth crust, then that particular wave will be considered as relic waves. So simply or basically you can say that three important waves are there: seismic waves, primary, secondary and surface. Maximum destruction through the surface waves and least destruction or no destruction by primary and secondary waves. So these are the basic property, and on the basis of this property only, what we did, we monitored their behavior inside the earth. When the earthquake comes, technically below the earth crust or inside the earth surface or inside the earth. From the focus means the point of origin of earthquake. When the waves are generated, they travel in all direction, and what we did, we start monitoring their behavior on the basis of their property, and especially the primary and secondary waves. And what we found that with the increase in depth, their behavior changes. Either their speed increases or decreases, or they get vanished. And on the basis of this study and their behavior inside the Earth's interior, what we did, we divided the Earth's interior in different sections like crust, upper brittle mantle, then after asthenosphere, then after you can say lower mantle, then after outer liquid core and inner solid core. What are they and what are their behavior? We will discuss it in the coming lecture, where we will define particularly the Earth's interior, the behavior of the seismic waves, and then after the shadow zone theory and the magnetism of Earth, or you can say the magnetosphere of Earth, which is responsible for all the communication things, formation of auroras and the ionosphere. So these are the seismic waves. So on this basis, we will discuss the another part of Earth's interior in the coming lectures. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day.